Hello and welcome to the Daily Meal for Sunday, the 9th of November 2025. In today's Millwall news, we have this from footballleagueworld.co.uk. And it's about the man there, Alex Neil. What do you think it is? Well, apparently, another team is interested in him. Except that team haven't sacked their manager yet. They still do have a manager. But Alex Neil has still been linked with him, with West Bromwich Albion. So West Brom identify Millwall manager Alex Neil as potential Ryan Mason replacement. West Brom have identified Millwall manager Alex Neil as a potential replacement for the increasingly under fire boss Ryan Mason, despite tasting success this weekend for the first time in 6 matches. 2-1 home win against Oxford United. Well, I mean, they should have won that, shouldn't they? May have lifted the heat a little from under the feet of West Bromwich Albion head coach Mason, but according to reports this morning, they've still identified a potential replacement for him in the event that results don't improve on a consistent basis. Albion's win was their first in 5 games and lifted them to 14th place in the Championship table. Such is the congestion in the middle of the table that, although they remain in the bottom half of the table, they are still only 4 points short of a playoff place. But winning games consistently has been an issue for Albion all season, and the Oxford win in itself may not be enough to quell the growing speculation that the club may feel the need to make a change just months after hiring Mason. Now, this is where this story has come from. Journalist Alan Nixon, the pie man himself, reports that West Bromwich Albion have identified the Millwall manager Alex Neil as a potential replacement for Mason should results not improve. He reports that grumbles are growing at the Hawthorns and that a change could be made should results not improve on a consistent basis. With the win over Oxford being the club's first for 6 matches, you see how these, they keep repeating things over and over to try and just pad out the story. You've seen that, right? Neil has been identified by Albion, so they say that again, because of his achievements since taking the Lions job at the end of December 2024. Mill finished last season in 8th place in the Championship, and they're currently 6th in the current standings going into the final international break for 2025 following a 1-1 draw with the Scotsman's former club, Preston North End. Nixon reports that Alex Neil may not come cheap should West Brom choose to make their move, but that the manager who has previously managed, among others, Preston North End, Sunderland and Stoke City, still has his base in Lancashire, and that this means that the position could appeal as a closer to home option than his current job. It is not the first time Neil has been linked to West Brom. Whilst Preston manager in 2019, he is heavily linked to the vacancy at the West Midlands outfit, and after the Lily Whites were battered 4-1 by Albion in the April of that year, he suggested that the speculation linking him to the job had affected his squad. However, just a day later, Neil penned a new contract at Deepdale, ending any talk of him moving to West Brom. That link, though, has emerged nearly 6.5 years later. Alex Neil's achievements since taking over as Millwall manager were always going to make him a viable candidate for another job. He was recruited into the position at the end of December 2024 as a replacement for Neil Harris, who stood down from the position earlier in the month. Neil managed to steer the Lions to 8th place in the Championship at the end of last season, a considerable achievement even if it did fall short of a playoff place. Mill have made a solid start to the new season and have already established themselves as playoff contenders. And then they talk about West Brom a bit more. But Millwall will be unlikely to give up Neil without a fight. He's been successful since arriving at the Den and only signed a contract extension with the club at the start of June 2025. Such a move from a rival club would clearly significantly disrupt this season and may demand substantial compensation should West Brom make a move. But heading into the international break, it's clear that the growing discontent at the Hawthorns won't have been completely quelled by one win. So there you go. And apparently one of the West Brom fans doesn't want him. They think he's just a Pulis clone. Alright. And then another one says he would be a decent appointment. which is interesting. And not only that, so this follows on from speculation that came out Saturday 15 minutes before kick-off in our game from the Football Insider that Middlesbrough were looking to go after Alex Neil for their vacant job. And we now have this from footballleagueworld.co.uk, the same company that I just showed you on the previous story. So Middlesbrough fans are reacting to links with Mill's Alex Neil. So obviously, one staple of what should we call it? I'm doing finger quotes. Journalism these days is a roundup of the Twitter reaction. What is Twitter reacting, and how are they doing it? And that's what we've got. So on Saturday, we had the link with Middlesbrough and Alex Neil, and then we had the reaction from the fans online. And the fans online, they're of sound mind, clearly, because they're on Twitter all day, sending messages to random people that they've never met before. Exactly what someone who is of sound mind does, arguing with an AI bot that they don't even know is AI. So yeah, and you've got the roundup of the story. Their manager didn't do training on Friday, and he wasn't on the touchline on Saturday as they beat Birmingham. Within minutes of the story breaking, fans flooded social media with disbelief and frustration. Andrew Gilroy says, "Please God, no." And God is in lowercase. And Nadia Hamed 94 said, "Can this day get any worse?" Well, it can always get worse, can't it? Another supporter believes that if Neil was appointed, he'd eventually do the same as Edwards has done and jump ship, much like he did with Sunderland a few years ago to take the Stoke City job. Well, I mean, that was different circumstances, really. Avoid, he'll do the same as Edwards has done, says Paul Thomas E. One fan summed up the mood more broadly, admitting that Edwards has given them trust issues in managers. Borough 01012 says, "I'm actually scared to put my trust in managers now." And his supporters also raised concern about the manner of Neil's Sunderland departure, drawing parallels with the situation they find themselves in with Edwards. Well, it's not really the same, because he got Sunderland promoted to League One, and then he was expecting a transfer budget, and that transfer budget didn't materialise. And not only that, but he wanted to be rewarded for getting them promoted, which didn't come. So if you say you're going to do something, do it. If you don't do it, why are we doing it? So VLC 176 says, "Out of the frying pan into the fire!" He's an even bigger snake than Edwards. So clearly he's on an iPhone, because he's got that same grammatical error that seems to be coming in with any time there's an S on the end of a word, where it just puts the apostrophe in there. As perhaps a source of the comfort to Borough fans, any move would come at a cost, and Neil signed a new long-term deal at the Den earlier this year, meaning compensation would be required. And one of the fans said, "One problem, Gibson has never went for nor employed someone who is currently employed. A man of principles, and I can't see it changing." So he's saying man of principles, maybe he's just tight and he doesn't want to pay compensation. Because you imagine, well, let's just get one of the countless number of managers that are unemployed. The merry-go-round. Simon Grayson's unemployed. He got sacked by Hartlepool. I think probably he's a bit of a busted flush at the moment. But you've got, I think didn't Steve Bruce get sacked by Blackpool? Who got sacked by Luton? The guy was at Luton. The guy at Norwich, he was doing all right at Bristol City. Then he goes to Norwich, and now he's been sacked as well. So I don't think it's a case of principles. I mean, you're perfectly entitled. It's in the rules. The only thing is about tapping up. As long as you do it by the book. So I don't think it's that. I think, why would you pay for a manager when there's like a load of free ones? You just get the best one that you think is available. So I don't think it's about principles. And then they talk about the quote from Alex Neil from the post-match press conference. So there you go. Hopefully Alex Neil's watching this video. Hi Alex. I don't think the Middlesbrough fans are very keen on you. So yeah. And you do wonder if it is just because he was manager of Sunderland. So that's a bit weird, but whatever. I guess, if we had, would we want a West Ham manager or Crystal Palace manager? Probably not. Charlton, probably not. But so we'll see how it goes. Now, moving on to this. This is Mill FC Academy's Instagram page. And the player that played in the under-21 game last week, who was named as a trialist, he's signed a short-term deal with the club after a successful trial period. So there you go. His name is confirmed as Ronnie Sandford. And there you go. And will he be playing this week? Probably, because the under-21s have got 2 games this week. They've got this game on Tuesday the 11th, Remembrance Day. The actual one, not obviously Remembrance Sunday, Remembrance Day, of the 11th of the 11th. There is a game at the Den, 1 p.m. kickoff between Bournemouth under-21s and Millwall under-21s. You can go to that game. It costs £5 to get in. It's free if you're a Millwall season ticket holder of a junior variety. They also have a game on Friday at Mill Training Ground against QPR. So they've got 2 games this week, so that should be fun. A good chance to get 2 wins and to climb up that table, was because obviously they are at the bottom of the table. Now, that's it for the news. Obviously Sunday, not a lot going on. So we're going to move on to the stats that we do every Sunday, Stats Sunday. If you're not sticking around, thank you for watching. If you are, here we go. So this is the match report from WhoScored.com. Millwall were effective at creating goal scoring opportunities from set pieces. We were caught offside often, committed a high number of individual errors. We played with width. We had a large quantity of possession in our opponent's half. We attacked down the right side. We favoured crossing the ball, and we favoured long balls. Long balls. As you can see, we had 14 attempts on goal. They had 8. 7-6 open play. 7-1 set piece. We did have a lot of set pieces, so I think obviously that's Plan B. Plan A is Femi as is. Plan B is set piece, and I don't have a problem with that. We got to try and win the games. We got to win them however we can. Our 1 goal from 14 attempts on goal means a 7% conversion rate, and they had 1 from 8, so that's a 12% conversion rate. This is the player positions, average player positions, and you see Adomu Maku averagely was further forward than Ivanovic over the time. Obviously, I think did Maku go off earlier? Or did he go off at the same time as Ivanovic? Maybe, I can't remember. Negley went off first, didn't he? So, yeah. So it looks like at times we were playing a 4-1-3-2. And you can see Preston playing a 5-3-2. Trying to double up, really. I think they're trying to counter Crammer going forward. So every time Crammer bombed forward, or a Maku bomb forward, they were trying to go down that behind us on that side on the counter attack. So there is that. The action zones, where was the action? Mostly in the middle, and then more in their third than our third. Shot zones, 60-40 really, in terms of inside the box and outside the box. For us, for them, it was even more stark. It was 3/4 in the box and a quarter outside the box. These are the shot directions, and these are the attack sides. So you can see, I think that was the plan, certainly for them to counter-attack when we came forward down that right-hand side, because we went down the right-hand side 57% of the time. They went down their left-hand side, which is also our right-hand side, 49% of the time. If we go onto the right-hand side, you can see the top performers in rating, shots, tackles, and dribbles. Michael Smith was given the man of the match, based on the stats from WhoScored.com, 7.8, and 7.7 for Andrew Hughes, and then 7.3 for Ivanovic, 7.2 for Kramer, 7.1 for Max Crocombe. So suggests that scoring a goal is likely to get you a higher score. 2 goal scorers up at the top. Surprised that Ivanovic got such a high score, really. And you can see he had as many shots as Cooper did, and Ballo did, and Bangor Williams did. And Bangor Williams was on for 10 minutes, and he had two shots. Tackles, Zach Sturge with 2, Casper De Norre with 2, which is coincidentally were the 2, I think, the best players for us yesterday. Zach Sturge got the man of the match from the sponsors lounge down at the ground, but I think a lot of people favoured Casper De Norre, and he was very good yesterday. And dribbles, Thierry Small, one of the 3 players that they rested and then brought on. Probably one of their better players, I should say. And I think he's got a point to prove, because I think he was trying to get a move to Millwall. So I don't think he was at Charlton and he was free agent, and we wasn't interested really. I think he wanted to stay in London, but it didn't happen. So there you go. Let's move on now to this. And here are the match events. Obviously, Zach Sturge getting a yellow card. Them scoring from the back pass from Camille Negley. Which, having watched the extended highlights back, there's a lot of playing it back to the keeper and playing it, even though there's a very high press, because I think they realise if you're booting it up to Ivanovic, you're wasting your time. So they're trying to do something. But how did we score? Cooper booted it forward, and he just booted it forward. He went out for a throw-in. Their player threw it back to the keeper. The keeper fucked it up, and Ivanovic ran on and scored. So, you don't have to kick it up to Ivanovic. Just kick it out for a throw-in in their corner. Especially if they're not going to pump it long. Because they don't have that guy that got suspended, Osmajic. So if they don't have him up front, and they're going, they don't have their target man, they're probably not going to boot it forward either. So all you got to do is, as soon as you get on the ball, or you get a sniff of the ball, just pump it forward. Is it good to watch? No, it's fucking horrible to watch. But we did score from that throw-in where Cooper just lumped it out for a throw-in. So you don't always have to just pump it towards Ivanovic and see him, fucking fail to get the ball. You can do other stuff. You don't have to kick it back to the goalkeeper and risk it, because that wasn't, obviously the goal wasn't the only one. There was obviously the one where Crocombe, kicked it against the player and it ricocheted off, and it could have gone anywhere really, And there was another one where Ballo passed it back to their player. All kinds of stuff going on. So, they made the changes first. So they weren't happy with what was going on. They probably wanted to do something in that game, but they didn't. They made changes. Then they made another change, and then we responded with the changes, and then changes even later, just before injury time was announced, of only 4 minutes, and we ended. I think that was shoring it up. I think he went 3 at the back. I think Harding was the right-sided centre back, so we were okay. Shit, because Preston were going for it. They had Thierry Small on, who was doing stuff. Lewis Dobbin had a chance that he fucked up. Alfred Devine. So they brought their 3 best players on that they rested because obviously they had a midweek game. So we were under the cosh, and we made the changes to shore it up and keep it 1-1. If you look at the top right and top left where the club badges are, you can see the average player rating for each team. It's 6.41 for Millwall and 6.68 for Preston. So Preston doing slightly better, but as in a draw, this is not much between it in a draw. So the two players who caused the errors that led to the goals, Negley and Iverson, they got the ready on them, and they are below 6. 5.4 for Negley and 5.9 for Iverson. Although I think Negley, apart from the going in the attacking third, he was pretty good. Passes here and there, opening things up. But it's just that one mistake, and it's tanked his score really. The two goal scorers getting two high scores. 7.3 for Ivanovic, 7.8 for Smith. Crocombe getting 7.1. Had a lot of saves to make. He did make a few decent saves. And Kramer 7.2. You would imagine that's based on him, bombing forward and getting those crosses in, which is interesting. Because he is a good defender as well. But to see him bombing forward and being so attacking, very interesting to see. Pretty much everyone else mid-6s, really. I mean, Caleb Taylor's first start, 6.6. Denor only got 6.3. Amaku 6.5. Ballo 6.5. So, yeah. The subs, so when they came on. Is there one missing? Yeah, okay. So if we go down, the shots, 14-8. Who had the shots? And you can see everybody getting involved for Millwall, because obviously we had quite a few from set pieces, so that means everyone gets involved, everyone gets set up, and we have a go. So yeah, everyone had a shot except for Crocombe and Kramer, which is interesting. Cooper with 2, as mentioned. Cooper with 2, Ballo 2, Ivanovic 2, and one of the subs, Bangor Williams with 2. So he is, very attacking player. And if he would have had minutes before in previous games, maybe he would have been a bit more tuned up and had an eye for the goal, and he could have done something. I don't know. And you can see for them, Smith with 2, for Darson with 2, and Dobbin with 2. So the changes that they made did improve their team. Possession-wise, 48-51, which is interesting, because we barely ever win a game where we've had most possession. So we did slightly, pretty much, kind of 50-50, 49-51, really. And on the ball for us the most was Jake Cooper with 6.2. Then Kramer with 6, and this is percentage of match time, of the minutes of the match time. So obviously that doesn't mean 90 minutes. Most games, the ball in play is in for less. It's about 60-65 minutes of the ball being in play, and this is the percentage of that time. So yeah, but you can see on the ball for them, the most white man, 8.3. Basically dictating it, and that's probably as well, why Negley scores a bit low. Should he have been on him a bit more, disrupting him? I don't know. But again, just to see how isolated Ivanovic was. He was on the ball, as in on the ball, getting on the ball and being in possession of the ball. Only 1.7% of the match time, which is the lowest on the whole pitch. And he actually got beaten by some of the substitutes, not for us, but by them, Divine. Pass success percentage 69-67, so we didn't have that much possession as them, but we had a better pass success percentage rate. Because both teams were pressing. We were pressing them, they were pressing us. They obviously led to the mistake for their goal. So we got Sturge with 81, Denor with 80, Mazu Sako with 86. So yeah, dribbles 4 to 8. These are the players who had those dribbles. Aerials 22 to 42. Well, so this is aerials 1. So you can see Ivanovic won 6 aerials, but for them, their defenders got 5, 6, and 10. So that suggests somewhere in the region of, what's that, 21? Let's put 15. So if I would say Ivanovic won 6 and lost 15 aerial duels. I'm going to say that, and we can see later on the other thing. But again, Smith, 10 aerial duels, 10. So Caleb Taylor, was he up against him? Could that be a problem? He might be tall, but you've got to try and win some of these aerial duels, mate. We'll see how he did later on. I don't know. Tackles 7 to 10. So that's interesting. So with the high pressing, you've got pass success percentage quite low, really, 69 to 67. There was only 17 tackles in the whole match. It was just closing down, pressing, causing mistakes, causing players to miss pass it like Negley and Ballo did. Closing down their options, affecting their ability to pass it to another player. So you didn't need to tackle them because they had to pass the ball quickly, and they gave it away. So there's only 17 tackles in the whole match. That is insane. That is ridiculous, insane. So yeah, and the players with those tackles: Sturge with 2, Denor with 2, and then Amaku and Negley 1 each. Corners 10 to 6. These are the players who won those corners, and you can see Amaku with 3, Sturge with 3, Negley with 2. Dispossessed. So as mentioned, being pressed for the ball, being dispossessed of the ball 7 times for us, 2 times for them. Kramer 2 times, Negley 2 times, and then these guys 1 each. So there you go. So now let's look at this some more. So how many shots did we actually have on target? Before we get to that, let's do the player ratings. So it's 7.31 for Ivanovic, 7.19 for Kramer, 7.10 for Max Crocombe. Caleb Taylor with 6.62. Then Zach Sturge makes up the top 5 with 6.55. Ever so slightly above Mr. 401, 6.54 for Jake Cooper. Amaku, solid performance, pretty good, run his guts out. Hopefully he didn't throw up after the game. 6.5 rating there, which is equal with Ballo. And then going down, you've got the subs, and the only starting player below the subs, Camille Negley, because of that error, unenforced error. That got him a 5.41. So we had 14 shots. Nepa, how many were actually on target? 4. So 14 to 4 to 1 goal. Not as tuned up as it could have been. When you get 14 shots, you probably want 6 or 7 to be on target, and then 6 or 7 you probably want 2 or 3 goals. We only got 1 goal. Could we have had more? Almost certainly. Ivanovic trod on the ball. And Ivanovic had that chance with that near post where he slapped it towards goal and the goalkeeper saved it. Other than that, Casper Denor pinged one wide. So yeah, but yeah, could have been better. So how many offsides did we get? 3. Ivanovic 2, Turner Ballo 1. Defensively, who did the defensive stuff? Tackles, obviously we know there wasn't a lot. Sturge with 2, Denor with 2. But interceptions, Cram with 4, Caleb Taylor with 2, Amaku with 1, Kelly with 1. super sub. He was on the pitch for 6 minutes, 2 minutes of normal time, and the extra time, 1 tackle, 1 interception. That's not bad. That's not bad, you know. Every little helps. Every little helps. Clearances, Caleb-Taylor with 6, Cranmer with 3, Zach Sturge with 2, Negley with 2, Croken with 2, and Cooper with 2. And then blocked shots, only 1, that was from Jake Cooper. So, there you go. So now let's move on to this, fbref.com. If you look at the middle, under the scoreline, the actual scoreline was 1-1. The XG suggests it should have been 2-1 to Millwall. 1.8 XG to 0.7 for Preston. That's expected goals if you don't know what XG is, and I don't have time to explain that to you because it's very complicated, but it's basically the number of shots you had and the quality of shot you have produces an expected goal, and that is all added up, and that's what was there. So possession, they've given it here as 50-50. This is from fbref.com, if I didn't mention that earlier. Passing actually 65 to 66. 392 to 399. Pretty similar, really. Shots on target, 29% for us, 75% for them. And I'll keep them, so 4 of 14 for us and 6 of 8 for them. That was on target. So the keeper had to make the saves. And you can see our keeper made 5 of 6 saves and their keeper made 3 of 4 saves. So there you go. 2 yellow cards each. Fouls 11 to 10. Corners 10 to 6. Crosses 27 to 14. So we were crossing more. Touches the ball 494 to 505. So teams that were playing pretty similarly, really. Tackles 7 to 10. Interceptions 8 to 7. Aerials 122 to 42. Clearances 25 to 41. So we were crossing it in and they were clearing it. Because that, basically, yeah, kind of. Offsides 3 to 1, goal kicks 5 to 10, throw-ins 40 to 33, and long balls, long balls, 92 for us and 76 for them. And here you go. This is the Millwall squad from that game yesterday. How many minutes they played. Was it Cranmer's birthday? Is his birthday today? 24 years old and 000 days. Happy birthday, mate. Bon anniversaire. And it was Negley's birthday a couple of days ago. 24 years old, the same age nearly. 24 years and 2 days old. Happy birthday. So, the player with the most XG. One man, Ivanovic. So he got the shot away from the mistake. He was trundling along at the goalkeeper, and then the mistake happened, and he pounced on it in slow motion. Shot creating actions. So these, as mentioned, two offensive actions directly lead into a shot. It's basically a way of who is the most attacking player. And for us, it was Cranmer with 7. And then you've got Denor with 3, and Ballo with 3, and Amaku with 3. So there you go. But Cranmer, the right back, insane. Passing accuracy, you can see the completion per player. It's not the best. It's not the best. Not only is it not the best, you can see, so to show you how little on the ball Ivanovic got is in terms of link-up play, there basically was no link-up play. He attempted 12 passes in 88 minutes on the pitch, and he only completed 7, so that's 58.3% completion rate. He carried the ball 7 times. That means he got on the ball 7 times. So that's not good, really. I guess, I mean, if you want someone involved in the play, You got Maku here, 45.2% completion rate, 31 attempts, 14 completed. So if he's passing it to Ivanovic, and Ivanovic is fluffing his lines. Okay. Let's just spin through some of this stuff. Passing wise. Okay. I mean, see, Mazusako passing, he's very good with his passing. Short balls, 12 of 13 completed. Medium, 10 of 11. Long balls, 2 of 2. Not bad. Not bad at all. And Dinor, he's good as a 9 of 10. Short ones, 15 of 17 medium. Just the long ones let him down, 4 of 7. But Harding, obviously, had his defensive moments. Header, he headed out for, was it corner or throw? 4 passes attempted. None of them were. I think, were they passes or was he just clearing the ball? Don't know. Okay, let's move on. Pass types. Defensive actions. So challenging dribblers. So Turner Ballo tried to tackle Preston player dribbling towards him 3 times and he didn't get him once. But Negley was 1 of 1. Langstaff was 0 of 2 as well. Dinor was 1 of 2. Mazusaka was 0 of 1. Okay. A possession. This time we did get into the opposition penalty area, unlike the Birmingham game. We had 18 touches in the attacking penalty area. Spread around pretty evenly, obviously from the set plays, which is good. And Turner Ballo dribbling against Preston players, so he couldn't tackle the ones dribbling against him, and then trying to dribble past them. No, again, not so good. Only 1 successful from 4 attempts. Amaka was 1 of 1, 100%. Zach Sturge was 2 of 3, 66%. And the only other player who tried to dribble past someone was Jake Cooper, and that didn't work. Carries of the ball, yeah. Let's look at carries of the ball. I love carries of the ball. So here we go again. Is this a problem? I think it's a problem. I think a lot of other people don't seem to agree. They think Ivanovic should just get on the end of balls, be like a fox in the box. But, I think he should be involved in the build-up play to some extent. I mean, because these numbers are fucking dire. He carried the ball 7 times in 88 minutes, mind. So he only got on the ball 7 times. And he carried the ball 25 yards, and none of that was towards the opponent's goal line. It was all sideways or backwards. Like, I mean, oy vey. You look at Maku though, 15 carries of the ball for 146 yards, 62 yards of that was forwards. And then Dinor, 25 carries of the ball, 161 yards, 56 yards of that was forwards. And then you get a player who just came on the pitch, 9 minutes on the pitch, 3 carries of the ball for 21 yards, 15 of that is forwards, as in Bangor Williams. And he gets off 2 shots, which is the same as this player who did that. And Kramer, 29 carries of the ball. See, he was the main man to get on the ball. Jake Cooper got on the ball more than him. 30. But Christian Kramer, the most attacking player that we had, 29 carries of the ball, 155 yards of distance. 89 of that was towards the opponent's goal line. Which, he's starting further back, so you would imagine. Of course it would be. Now, miscellaneous stats. And here we go, I told you. I said 15, it's 16. So Ivanovic, he won, according to this website, they give him one less. They said he's won 6. He won 6 and lost 16 aerial duels. Now there was a dark hearts. You kind of couldn't tell from the stands, but watching it back on the television in the highlights, you can see there was all kinds of shit going on that wasn't being called. But I mean, 6 of 60. How is that? How are you a target man if you only win 27% of your aerial duels? You're not really a target man, are you? And if you're not a target man and you don't get on the ball and link up play, what are you? Literally, what are you? It was a bad day all around, really. Amaku was 0-3. Camille Negley was 0-2. Defenders did okay, but Caleb Taylor 5 of 9. So Jay Cooper 3 of 0, 100%. So Caleb Taylor did seem to have trouble with that. Was it Michael White? And Cram was only 4 and 5 as well, which is 44%. So yikes. So the goalkeeper Max Crocombe, 6 shots on target against, goals against 1, saves 5, save percentage of 83.3. Post shot XG of 0.8. Passes 24, 5 throws. Half of his passes were long balls, 45.8% launched. Average length of pass was 35.2 yards. Goal kicks, only 5 of them. They were all long, and the average length was 68 yards. The opponent crossed into our penalty area 12 times. He came out and stopped one of them. That's a stop percentage of 8.3%. And his outside penalty area engagements was 1. Average distance from the goal line, 11.7 yards. Yes, sweeper keeper. There was a lot of passing it back to him, wasn't there? Which obviously led to their goal as well. So, here's a list of the shots. You can see the first half, we did pretty well. Second half, you can see why Alex Neil made the subs that he made. As soon as they made their substitutions, it was pretty much swung their way. It swung the other way. So, first up, Camille Negley, 17 yards, left-footed off target. And then for Dawson, saved. And then they scored 15 yards, right-footed, 0.31 to 0.45 post-shot XG. And then Mazusaku blocked, Turno Ballo saved, Ivanovic goal, 0.79 to 0.99. Well, it was a open goal. I mean, if he would have missed that, that would have been nuts. Caleb Taylor off target, and then for Dawson blocked, and Maku off target. Alex Neil's G'd them up. They came out second half fully motivated because the next 5 shots are all Millwall shots. Off target from Cooper, blocked from Zach Serge, Ivanovic saved. I think that was the one at the post, was it? Volley at the front post, 0.1 to 0.5. Got saved. Jake Cooper saved, 10-yard header. Casper Noor off target. And then Michael Smith off target. And round about this time is when they made the saves. It was on the 57th minute and then on the 68th minute. Turno Balla has a shot in the 74th minute, and then it's Preston. 3 in a row, all saved. And then Bangor Williams off target, and Dobbin saved. So there you go. And on that note, thank you for watching, and goodbye.